Pounders. My God. Week 1 did not disappoint. We had injuries. We had hot takes that crushed the slate. Hunter Henry, out of nowhere. Let's just pull up the tight ends real quick for week 1. And how many of these guys weren't even drafted? Hunter Henry, Hayden Hurst, Parham as tight end 3 so far. Now we have one game left. We have Conklin and Kincaid as well as Knox playing tonight. Blake Bell, tight end 4. Harrison Bryant, tight end 5. Just a kind of a weird week for tight end scoring. But let me pull up. Is that the wrong page that's up? Hold one. Let's do this here. There we go. Now we can all see it. Hunter Henry, Hayden Hurst, Parham, Blake Bell, Harrison Bryant. Just a funny, weird top 5 this week. Don't expect that to continue, but Hunter Henry's going in the last round for the majority of the best ball season. Crazy. Now, if you need a tight end for next week, Hunter Henry's going to be at the top of my list for waiver wire ads. But let's jump into this first game 1. And this was Atlanta versus the Panthers. Scoot, welcome. ER7, Fantasy Dysfunctional. I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. Let's jump right into this. And there's just so much that we knew was going to happen, but we drafted Drake London anyways. And I was off Pitts, but early I said, if one of them's going to succeed, it would be the tight end, just due to the ceiling doesn't have to be hit as high as the wide receiver position. So we see this team throw the ball 18 times. 18 times. And 9 of those were to running backs. Robinson and Algier pull half of the target share. Now, Ritter had more catches. Desmond Ritter had more catches than Kyle Pitts and Drake London combined at halftime. He caught his own pass. It's going to be rough. Now, I still think you have to go out, and if you drafted Kyle Pitts, you have to start him. It just is what it is. You do luck out that the tight end scoring was relatively low and flat this week. I don't expect too many teams to have started Hunter Henry anyways. Like maybe if you're in a 16-team league, he could have got into a lineup there. But Matt Collins, clear wide receiver 2. We knew that coming in. He pulls 4 targets. Drake London pulls 1 target. Weird game script. Is this going to continue? And I guess the point that we want to make too is, can Tyler Algier continue this type of usage? And if they go run heavy, it's the same returning offensive coordinator. This shouldn't be super surprising. Algier could be a good change of pace back. He might be flexible. He better be flexible. But you might be able to put him in the flex for weeks to come. Let's see this next week before we do that, and let's see his usage. We do expect Bijan to be ramped up, but there's room for 2. If you give Bijan 25 touches, this team wants the running backs to touch the ball more than that. So keep an eye. I think Tyler Algier, he's at the top of the waivers. And we did get breaking news before we came on with an injury to Austin Eckler. His ankle, we don't know the severity yet, but this could be the reason why we saw Joshua Kelly touch the ball 15 or 16 times. Algier was the Josh Jacobs the whole time. And we have over 20% Algier, and he just fell way too far. When he went to 160s and 165 in the offseason for Bestball and Underdog, it was too much, and we were really scooping that. My opinion is if they're trailing, they'll most likely, be more throwing. Maybe. This is a team that also ran the ball a crap ton last year when they were behind. There were a bunch of 2 RB sets as well. There wasn't in the red zone. I saw there was 1 snap. We can get to that right here. 3rd downs, short yardage, 2 backs. So they used 2 backs early down 7 times, all plays 10. So they were using 2 backs. how much of it was with this fella here. I'm not even going to try to say his name. I'm going to butcher it. So I won't even try. But yeah, if they're behind quick, the thing is, like, Bijan's going to take a large target percent of this offense just because he's such a good playmaker with the ball in his hands, and Ritter likes to check down to the RBs. So keep an eye out for Algier. He's definitely a must-add for waiver wires this week. And as we get into the Carolina Panthers, Mingo, not bad, pulling 5 targets in his first NFL game. Marshall pulling 6. Now, Marshall played more because of the DJ Chark injury. When DJ Chark's good to go, expect Marshall to take the hit. Hayden Hurst pulling 7 targets. Looks like they had some design plays for him too. He's definitely going to be up there for waiver wires for tight end, but he's still not super exciting for me, not yet. Miles Sanders, this might be someone that we look to trade. This might be someone that we're looking to trade after 1-2 good games, and we look to move him because Chuba Hubbard, his role was big. His role was too big for where you were drafting Miles Sanders. We were hoping, not really I didn't love Miles Sanders. I kind of thought he was a dead zone back, but short yardage. Chuba Hubbard, 4 carries in short yardage. Can he be the goal line back? That would be terrible. If he's the short yardage guy and he's out there on every third down, oh, bad. Oh, bad. 2-minute drill. They even split time in the 2-minute drill. Now, it does look like they trust Miles Sanders more with 14 of those touches, but still not looking good for Miles Sanders at all. At all. Especially rookie-led offense. It's just, you kind of expect the scoring to be lower anyways. But let's speed over to the Baltimore Ravens. And this is, oh my God. Injury to Dobbins, Achilles. ACL before, now Achilles. This guy wanted to get paid before the season started. And now you know why. Made of glass. I mean, you feel bad for a player in this situation. Coming back from those 2 injuries, the money's just not going to be there, so it's kind of sad. A lot of set plays for Zay Flowers. If he's somehow on your waiver wire, number 1 target for wide receivers on my waiver wire. Not Nakua. And if anyone tells you Nakua, they're wrong. They're wrong. Especially you got Cooper Kupp coming back to that offense. Sure, you have Mark Andrews that's going to return to the Ravens, but Isaiah Likely was out there, 46 snaps, and this worried me. I brought this up in the Discord that I don't feel confident with an Isaiah Likely start. The target competition, I should say, is much tougher than he had last year. It was Demarcus Robinson and other people that couldn't gain targets, like Duvernay last year was a wide receiver 1 for them after Bateman went down, and it was ugly. So, and we really saw that Odell Beckham, and this could be surprising, is this injury related with Bateman? Are they easing him back in? He gets 25 snaps to Beckman's 59 and Zay Flowers 54. So really just coming in on 3 wide receiver sets. Kind of nerve-wracking for Bateman, but that is the hope that I wouldn't drop him just yet. If you have him on your bench, let's see if they're just trying to ease him back. But definitely Zay Flowers, the number 1 alpha there. They even give him 2 carries. They just want the ball in his hands. So he's a must add. And now we're getting into like Justice Hill and Gus Edwards, and this is angry. Like this gets me mad. Dobbins looked like he was going to be a league winner, which is, that's just another thing. He was rarely coming off the field. Like he looked like a true 3-down back. Sad. But now we're in the predicament of, does this team add a veteran? Now they elevate Melvin Gordon from the practice squad, but obviously not the answer. So maybe he gets like 5-6 touches a week, and this could just be a 3-headed backfield, which is kind of gross. For me, give me Gus Edwards. He's like 6'1", 235. Justice Hill, the 3rd down type back, a much, much smaller dude. He comes in at 5'10", 195. Now he gets both goal line carries and scores. It's maddening. I don't expect that to continue. So I do think Gus Edwards will end up being the short yardage guy. You're not going to be starting him next week, but I think you have to pick him up. And if I'm choosing between these two in a half-point PPR, I think it's very obvious that you go with Gus Edwards, the early down back guy. Now, Justice Hill did look like he outproduced him in preseason, but when you get to the real game, he was wildly inefficient. Wildly inefficient. Pull this up. 8 carries for 9 yards. So who knows how much of that we can really invest in with him getting both of those touchdowns. I'm going to choose to ignore it. But anyways, third down back, I think is really what his role is going to be, and Lamar Jackson doesn't check the ball down. So I'm sort of ignoring Justice Hill on the waiver wire this week. Robert Woods, 58 snaps. Nico Collins, 55 snaps. They pull 10 targets and 11 targets. That's huge. Schultz only getting 4 targets. Everyone hoping that the old wives' tales of the rookies throwing to the tight end weren't true in Houston, at least in week 1. Dameon Pierce usage was underwhelming. They threw the ball more times than I think everyone thought they would, and that really affected Dameon Pierce. You saw Singletary mix in on third down, which pretty much expected. Dameon Pierce getting in there on short yardage, which is good. Early downs, 25. And then the third downs, Mike Boone, 10 times. He pulls like 4 targets or 4 catches. 2-minute drill. Dameon Pierce is out there. So I think where we drafted him, you were hoping that the usage is more. But he runs 22 routes. So that's good. Only pulling 3 targets. It's week 1. It's a rookie QB. It's really hard to look into it too much. But it is something we want to keep our eye on. Maybe Pierce is someone that we end up trying to move after a few good games. We just really want this to be 15 carries a game. Like you need that. You definitely need that. Let's move on to the next game. Cincinnati Bengals played the Cleveland Browns, and my God, hey, the Browns just destroyed the Bengals from a defensive standpoint. Burrow just completely off, and how much can we attribute this to the injury that happened in preseason? Can we really expect this to continue? Like, there's no way. They're gonna figure it out, and I think they'll figure it out sooner than later. Joe Mixon seeing 13 carries, he gets 4 targets on 17 routes run. Chris Evans, Trevion Williams, really underwhelming. So Joe Mixon, the clear RB1 there. Tyler Boyd getting 3 targets, Chase 9. T. Higgins, 7 targets, 0 catches. It's just, it was a wash of a week for the Bengals. Nick Chubb, really exciting with these 4 receptions here. The last time he got 4 receptions was in like 2019. He gets it in game 1. So you already see an uptick on third down, and he could prove to be, where we were drafting him was in the first round. Jared, welcome to the live stream. Ben May, Lucky 7, welcome to the live stream, fellas. T. Higgins 8. So maybe this is off. T. Higgins 8 targets, ER7 said. Cleveland Browns, however, DPJ 2 targets, Elijah Moore pulling 6 targets, Amari Cooper 5, and they also give Elijah Moore 2 carries. Very interesting. Njoku 3 targets as well. Harrison Bryant got in the end zone on what looked like a design play. Deshaun Watson had a rushing touchdown. So all around, kind of an underwhelming passing game from Cleveland this week. Maybe still some growing pains for Deshaun Watson. But Jerome Ford had quite the amount of carries. He ended up with like 15 carries or something close to that. Like, where is it? 12? No, 12 routes run. So similar to Nick Chubb, but not pulling any targets from those. 15 carries to Nick Chubb's 18. So this team wants to run the ball. It's pretty evident. So that could, let's see, Snaps for Cedric Tillman, 11. I want to see this. Now, do we see the Cedric Tillman increase? And would we see DPJ decrease over the course of the season? Sort of what I'm expecting. So 11 snaps versus 66. DPJ sees the most snaps, but only pulls 2 targets on 28 routes run. Very interesting. Just a run-heavy team, so it's pretty much expected. But the Nick Chubb looks like the price should pay out for where we were drafting him if they continue to use that usage. Mixon took 3 snaps on 3rd and short. Chris Evans received 2 snaps on 3rd and long. Trevion Williams played the rest of the 3rd downs. You don't love that, but Joe Mixon, he was underwhelming last year. So I sort of just faded him almost completely. And some of it's O-line problems, but Joe Mixon, I'd be looking to move if I drafted him. Jacksonville Jaguars and Indy Colts. So ETN, 18 carries, 77 yards, 1 touchdown, 5 receptions. Hallelujah. They passed the ball to ETN. It's crazy. That's that's what we were all hoping for last year. What's up, Joe? Any player worth the number 1 waiver. Depends what you need. If you need a receiver, I'm going Zay Flowers. If I need a running back, we might be switching it. If the Eckler ankle injury is serious, Joshua Kelly is the must number 1 waiver wire add on the week. After that, I think Tyler Algier could be startable next week if you had an injury to Dobbins. Deion Jackson's just underwhelming for me. We'll get into like Tajay Spears, who saw a higher snap count than Derrick Henry, which is interesting. Clear 3rd down back. And Kenneth Gainwell. It's really going to be between Kenneth Gainwell, Joshua Kelly, Tyler Algier. Those are going to be my top 3 waiver wire ads for the running back position. Is Jacoby Myers worth an ad? 100%. He was targeted early and often, and Devontae Adams opens the field for him. So he really plays a nice role for Jimmy Garoppolo. They really complement each other well. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Chubb, he's going to get the workload. If you give Chubb the ball enough times, he's going to get it done. That's sort of the way I see it. And this is a team that wants to run and needs to run. And when you have the threat of Deshaun Watson also running the ball, that does help the running backs. ER7 says Jacoby's that guy. I think he's going to actually have a pretty steady floor. And do we see another 2 touchdown game from him? I don't think so, but he should have a steady floor moving forward, which is nice. Calvin Ridley, alpha, literally just comes in and dominates the target share. Christian Kirk pulling 2 targets. This was the worry, and I'm surprised ETR didn't adjust their rankings after the new information of Ridley just practicing in the offseason. Zay Jones gets 61 snaps. Ridley, 57. Kirk, 43. Ran 24 routes. He'll have his games. I wouldn't I wouldn't be in full panic mode. It's not great. You're not starting him next week. But Zay Jones, he's addicted to the red zone. And Trevor Lawrence targets him in the red zone. So Zay Jones might be flexible pretty soon. If he can continue to just really make that impact in the red zone. You're seeing he's getting the snaps. He's running the routes. ETN, 18 touches. Tank Bigsby, 7 touches. So he's mixing in there. And Dearness Johnson already pretty much lost the job to the rookie here. And moving on to the Colts. Pittman broke one to the house. He was going at his cheapest price at the end of the season. Could the quarterback play be as bad as Sam Ehlinger and Matt Ryan from the year prior? Nah. And that's why he just became clickable. Now, is he going to break one to the house every week? No. But you feel good about it. You feel good about the targets he pulled, and you're definitely starting him. you're definitely starting him. He's the clear number one on the offense. Josh Downs pulls 6 targets. Alec Pierce, the deep shot guy, so just strictly a best ball player. But Anthony Richardson, thought he had a really good game for his first week as a rookie, especially playing the Jags. And Tank Bigsby, huge mistake with the fumble. He thought that the pass was incomplete from Trevor Lawrence. It's actually a fumble that hits the ground. He catches it, and he's just like walking towards the huddle, thinking the play's over. He gets the ball slapped out of his hands, and they run it back for a touchdown. I think the refs could have called it dead, but they didn't. So it is what it is. And they trusted him after that. So it's not like he's getting punished for that at all. Need help at tight end? Hunter Henry or Hayden Hurst if they're on the waivers. Who is your starting tight end? Because everyone pretty much missed at tight end this week. So you shouldn't have been killed at the tight end position because no one really had that huge spike week. You also had a ton of elites out as well. Unbelievable. Ben is in the house with the wrench. What's going on, my man? Welcome to the live stream. No Cap Max says, how much percent fab are you dropping on Joshua Kelly in a 14-team league? I low-key need running back depth. If you have 100, let's put it in 100 terms. I think you can easily drop 20. And if the injury to Eckler, if we find out in the next coming days that it is more serious, where he's going to miss time, you're probably going to 30, 33. I'd go up to 33%. If you just need like a weekly starter, like you can do Deion Jackson, but kind of underwhelming. And then Algier, I think, could be a weekly role. Like you could flex Algier. This is a team that wants to run the ball. They proved it again, throwing the ball only 18 times. 18 times. So you should be able to flex Algier. Some weeks will be better than others, but it's not bad if you're in a pinch. Moving on to New Orleans, and they played the Titans. This game was ugly, but oh man, I'm trying not to victory lap on Twitter at all, but here we are on the live stream, and Rashid Shaheed finishes as a top 10 receiver in week 1. Oh man, victory lap. The hounds are out. The spoons are out. Unbelievable. He's a deep shot guy for best ball. Awesome. You can keep him on your radar. He's going to be difficult to start in redraft because his floor is likely 0. But for your best ball shares for battle royales upcoming, I think you can mix him in the right situations. Juwan Johnson, again, all these tight ends pretty much failed. Like, look at the top 10 tight ends. Hunter Henry, Hayden Hurst, Parham, Blake Bell, Harrison Bryant. No one had these guys. And you weren't killed by a 5-point week from Luke Musgrave. So, that's standard. Let's put this in half here. It doesn't change. Parham, Blake Bell, Bryant, the Hawk. Like, the elite guys didn't even get there. So, you weren't really killed at tight end this week. Doubt anyone started Hunter Henry. Really good for our best ball shares. Our highest drafted tight end. We were drafting Hunter Henry before Gesicki, before it was the cool thing to do. We knew deep down. Taysom Hill sees 3 carries. Again, spike week guy. Doesn't get it done this week. This is big. Jimmy Graham, 9 snaps. This is why we were afraid of Juwan Johnson? This is why we saw him fall to pick 200 this offseason? The 9-snap Jimmy Graham? Come on. And then Foster Moreau, 32 snaps, runs routes on 11 of those. Juwan Johnson, 50 snaps, runs 32 routes. Really good to see for Juwan Johnson's usage. Really, really good to see. Jamal Williams, scariest starting running back for the Saints. Kamara return needed, as well as Kendra Miller. So we'll see. Logan Thomas is a top 10 tight end. He finished as a top 10 in the fantasy football playoffs last season as well, which is funny. Treylon Burks, he took a back seat to DeAndre Hopkins. He ran 57 snaps. He was out there for 57 snaps. He ran 37 routes, which is the highest on the team. So the knees got to be pretty good. They made a point to target him in the second half. I think one of those plays went for like 16 yards. They'll get him involved. I'm not overly worried about Treylon Burks right now. They'll get him involved. Chiggy, Tannehill missed him on a flea flicker. Like down the sideline, Chiggy could have broke like a 35, 40-yard touchdown on those two targets. So we could have just seen like a huge spike week from Chiggy, but Tannehill absolutely missed him. Tajay Spears, and here's the sneaky thing of the week, is Tajay Spears was out there for more snaps than Derrick Henry. Now, I don't really expect this to continue, but for Tajay Spears, having a clear third down role here, being out there 11 times, Chestnut out there twice, the 2-minute drill as well, there was only one. But early downs, he's also getting into the mix there. Tajay Spears becomes someone to pick up if you have an extended bench, or to at least watch for, because his upside really only lies in full point PPR right now and with an injury to Derrick Henry. So Tajay Spears definitely on the waiver wire list, depending how deep your bench is. Nick Westbrook pulls 7 targets. Just interesting. The Commanders against the Cardinals. And this was a fun one. It was like Battle of the Bums almost, but it was a fun one to watch. Terry McLaurin out there for 63 snaps, so that turf toe must be pretty damn good. 5 targets. Dawson pulls 7 targets. Kind of underwhelming game. Sam Howell, he had a fine game, especially for where he's being drafted. Brian Robinson, 19 carries to Antonio Gibson's 3. Now, Gibson has a fumbling issue. What's he do? He fumbles the ball. That's how you get benched. Man, game 1 too. Now, I like Brian Robinson. We made the switch to draft Brian Robinson too when Gibson went ahead of him. But similar routes run, which is not good for Gibson as well. And Brian Robinson ends up pulling 2 targets to Antonio Gibson's 1. The Cardinals snap counts, and it's going to be ugly from a wide receiver perspective here. The quarterback just got here. Dobbs was, scooped up like 2 weeks ago? We'll get to this. We're going to get to the Puka situation. And I do think he should be picked up. If Zay Flowers is out there, you're 100% picking up Zay Flowers in front of him. But we'll get to Puka in that game shortly. Trey McBride only runs 10 routes. Zach Ertz, the clear number 1 there. Just crazy how he comes back from his ACL tear, and you have other tight ends that are just like banged up, but they didn't tear the ACLs. And Zach Ertz starts week 1 and these guys don't. It's just funny how some of these things happen. James Conner, he got the usage that everyone was hoping for. 14 carries. He gets 5 targets, I believe 4 catches. So 18 touches. That's perfect for James Conner and where you were drafting him. He's going to have a steady floor. His ceiling won't be ridiculous because this team's going to have a tough time driving the ball, sustained drives, especially in the red zone. So I think it's okay. He's definitely looking more of a floor play, but who knew they were going to get rid of Colt McCoy. 49ers versus the Steelers. And this was domination by San Fran. Pittsburgh, you didn't see that jump that you wanted to from Kenny Pickett. Now, he played San Fran. I can understand that. Let's give him a break. But Najee gets 6 carries. Jaylen Warren gets 3 carries. Najee made one nice break for 24 yards here during a 2-minute drill. But other than that, it was kind of underwhelming from the whole offense perspective. Deontay Johnson broke a large catch and run, but then hurts his hamstring on the same play. So he comes out. Pickens, Allen Robinson, 8 targets. And you're seeing the snap counts here. Calvin Austin plays more due to the Deontay Johnson injury as well. But yeah, Allen Robinson, maybe you're in a full point PPR league. If Deontay Johnson's injury keeps him out a few weeks, maybe he's a flex play in a 14-team league. Yeah, it wasn't awesome. It wasn't awesome. Yeah, here's a new one. CMC is, in fact, good at football. And if you guys haven't already, go down, drop a like on the live stream. Helps me tremendously. If you're watching this afterwards, let me know what you agree on. If anything I say is just overly crazy, I want to hear it. Debo Samuel, 6 targets, underwhelming game. Ayuk, however, 8 targets, 8 catches, huge game, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns. Beautiful. Kittle out there, 47 snaps. That's great to see. It looked like he was questionable before the game started. Purdy was efficient, so great game from Purdy. They did what they needed to get the dub. Elijah Mitchell didn't get that change of pace back that we're used to. So we'll see if this continues throughout the season. But Christian McCaffrey runs 29 routes, gets 4 targets. He gets 22 carries. Can he do this the whole season? Like that's my worry. I bet they do get Mitchell involved a little more the coming weeks because you can't with CMC, especially like we expect San Fran to have a large lead for the majority of these games. That's usually when they get their backup running backs involved more, and they didn't this past week, but I think it's going to be an outlier game. Now, I'd much prefer like Tyler Allgeier's situation than Elijah Mitchell because you get that change of pace back, like just guaranteed. Like he's going to get out there, he's going to get 10 touches a week. Where I mean, Elijah Mitchell, we thought that he would. He ends up getting 6. It's not a huge deal. I bet we see a change. Would you make a move to go get Hunter Henry if you have Laporta and Everett at tight end? Yeah, well, tight end, like Everett, I'm completely fine with dropping for Hunter Henry in half-point PPR. You saw Everett split time with Parham, and Parham is becoming a red zone favorite for Justin Herbert as well. Dude's 6'8". So I'm fine with dropping Everett and just running Laporta and Henry. Hey, that's awesome. Adam says his college buddy, Charlie Warner, with 21 snaps. That's sick. That's so sick. We had a kid from my high school make it to the pros, played for Indy a couple years. He was an O-lineman. Moving on to the next game, the Bucks versus the Vikings. And this is one of the great upsets of the week. JJ has an enormous week, doesn't get into the end zone, but 9 catches on 150 yards, especially in full point PPRs. Awesome week. Half point, still great. Mike Evans, the spike week guy, Mike Evans. And Chris Godwin doing his thing, putting up the most Chris Godwin-like game ever, like 5 catches for 50-something yards. Just, it's a meme. Now, he's steady. Chris Godwin will have a nice floor every week, especially in full point PPR. In half, I'd rather Mike Evans. Baker Mayfield, I mean, he looked good. He definitely looked good enough, that's for sure. Rashad White, however, a disturbingly bad game from a rushing perspective. Really, really inefficient. And I think we can expect that to continue, but they did what they needed to get the win. In the Vikings, KJ Osborne running 44 routes to Jordan Addison's 31. They pull the same amount of targets. I do think that Addison, he's just going to continue to take snaps from KJ Osborne as the season goes on. And this is pretty much expected. And Alexander Mattison gets his day saved, completely saved by a touchdown catch. He did make a nice little shake and bake move. Let's give him that. He worked through contact, and it looked pretty good. But Madison, for the most part, underwhelming for most of the day. Green Bay versus Chicago, and Aaron Jones ends up pulling his hammy on a long touchdown run. Well, I think it was a catch on a slant. Beautiful play. A.J. Dillon wildly inefficient on the ground. Really hope he comes back from this. If Aaron Jones' injury isn't serious, which he said he could have gone back out there, they were up by so much that they chose to rest him. Let's see where they're at next week. But Musgrave, 4 targets. Romeo Doubs ends up getting, 2 touchdowns? Yeah, 4 catches, 26 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's Love's favorite target right now. And you have Christian Watson who's out. So, man, they get a nice dub over Chicago without Christian Watson, too. Insane. Jaden Reed with 5 targets on 20 routes. Yeah, not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. I mean, Aaron Jones is him. Now, if he stays healthy, it looks like Aaron Jones will be a nice value from where you were drafting him. He was in like that dead zone back range too. But 9 carries, 41 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 receptions, 86 yards and a touchdown. That's what you want to see. And the Bears. It got bad. It got really, really ugly here. DJ Moore gets 2 targets, 25 yards in the second quarter and doesn't see another target. Darnell Mooney catches a nice touchdown pass, but then he like pulled a hamstring. I'll have to double check on Mooney, but it looked like he pulled a hammy after that play. Tyler Scott gets out there for 13 snaps, runs 10 routes, gets 2 targets. DJ Moore, 46 routes ran, 2 targets. Oh my God. I'm going to have to rewatch that game. Rashawn Johnson got a lot of carries, a lot of targets in just garbage time. So it's something to take note of. Garbage time touches, you have to put it in perspective, right? So like Khalil Herbert was the clear and true number 1 while it was early. By halftime, he was getting the majority of the usage. They were mixing in Donta Foreman, and then Rashawn Johnson gets the garbage time. They're behind, and he gets a ton of targets. That's awesome, and it looks like they're using all of them right now pretty evenly, right? Especially like routes run, 18. I'm surprised to see this from Donta Foreman. Typically, we don't think of Donta Foreman as like a pass catching running back. So this is interesting. This was like really sticks out to me. Now, Rashawn Johnson getting this much work early as a rookie is good. And I think he'll continue to eat into Donta Foreman's shares. But Khalil Herbert definitely the true number 1 for this team. At 5'9", you could see either Rashawn Johnson or Donta Foreman take over that goal line work. And you see Rashawn Johnson 3rd down, 6 to Khalil Herbert's 3. Goal line, Khalil Herbert and Donta Foreman, short yardage, and 2-minute drill. Pretty mix. Will Chandler take over Madison? I don't know. I don't love it. I don't love it. Props on Ayuk. Yeah, we've been steaming up Ayuk. Happy about that one. So far on the beer bets, we have Ayuk with 1 spike week to Godwin 0. So we do take a lead on Drewski on that beer bet from this summer. Dallas Cowboys, let's go. That was probably one of the least exciting games I've ever seen from a fantasy football fan perspective on the game. It's like that game was over 9 minutes in. It was bad. And then it started to rain and they're still putting Jones out there. Just kind of comical. Now, I am a Danny Jones stock owner this year. There will be better days. There will be better days. Trust me. In Waller, there will be better days. It's funny, the receivers just all underperform. We'll get to that game, and we'll get to the Puka Nacua too. That's coming up soon. But the Raiders versus the Broncos here, and you see Devontae Adams, 29 routes run, Myers, 10 targets on 24 routes run. Dudes. Like, Devontae Adams is taking the attention. Myers is benefiting from it. Hunter Renfrow. Oh, should we pull up? Let's pull up the Hunter Renfrow shares. I don't even need to. It's 0%. I know it's 0%. Myers is the better wide receiver. They add Myers for a reason to this team. And Hunter Renfrow's upside was getting traded. And I don't think anyone's going to trade for him at the price he's currently at. Austin Hooper, 15 routes run. Mayer, 9. Not good. Not good for Mayer. Out there, 29 snaps to Hooper's 31. Do they get Mayer more in the mix as the season goes on? Yeah, you very well could see that. You definitely could see that. Jacobs, 14 routes run, 47 snaps, 3 targets, 19 carries. He's definitely going to get the work. And I just got word that Battle Royale Week 2 is live. You're welcome. It pays to be on the live stream. does it. The Broncos snaps. Cortland Sutton gets into the end zone. 32 routes run, 5 targets. After that, just pretty underwhelming. We see Greg Dulcich leave the game early. Troutman ends up getting 5 targets. Just a wash. Just an absolute wash for the Denver Broncos here. Now, Javonte Williams got good usage. 5 targets and 13 carries. That's more than I expected for week 1 coming back from his injury. And then Pirine. He was efficient with his touches, so good change of pace back roll. It looks like they're using him in the same exact way that they did in Cincy, especially like third down usage too. Third downs, Pirine 8, short yardage. I mean, he outsnaps Javonte Williams, so it's definitely something to note. And 2-minute drill, so like they trust him. That was, I think, one of the biggest worries about Pirine going into a different offense is, are they going to use him the same way they did in Cincy? And it looks like they are. So it's nice. It's really nice to see. Jimmy G can't throw it that far for Davante Adams, I'm assuming. Yeah, that's funny. It's just Myers really complements the type of game that Jimmy G wants to play. So it's a really good fit. And the best, most exciting game of the week, I thought, was the Dolphins versus the Chargers. And this is why we had Tyreek Hill ranked as the 2nd overall pick early into Battle Royale on the first stream on the day it opened, 30 minutes after it opened. Tyreek Hill, we ranked 2nd pick overall. It was the obvious choice. And you still have to go JJ number 1. If JJ gets into the end zone once or twice, it's a wash which one you pick. But Hill absolutely explodes for 11 catches, 215 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Explodes. Austin Eckler, 16 carries, 117 yards on the ground, which he typically doesn't hit that 100-yard cap on the ground. Smokes it here. 1 touchdown, 4 catches for 47 yards. We see Joshua Kelly get 16 carries, and he was efficient with them. He had a long run of 14 yards as well. 1 target on 17 routes run, but still, he's out there running routes too. Eckler comes down with an ankle injury. I'd be curious to go back and to see where in the game we think that happens. And does Kelly get more carries because of it? This is going to be something to note. Now, if Eckler's injury serious, Kelly becomes a number 1 waiver wire ad. And even if it's not serious, he's probably the number 2 for running backs this week. Everett splitting snaps with Parham, not great. They both pulled 3 targets. Everett does run more routes, but it's not great for Everett's outlook. Mike Williams, 31 routes run. Joshua Palmer, 31 routes run. Now, Mike Williams comes out of the game a little bit. Keenan Allen pulls 9 targets, 2 carries. Mike Williams pulls 5 targets. And after that, it's a split. Quentin Johnson pulls 3 targets. We expect, and you expect this too, like the rookie to get eased into it. I think Quentin Johnson ends up taking a larger role over Joshua Palmer. So I'm not running to get Joshua Palmer off the waivers because of his usage. Again, he only pulls 1 target on 31 routes. That's not exciting. Raheem Mostert. This is someone, if you have Mostert, you're selling him by week 3 or 4. If he can have another game where he gets into the end zone, sell. Jeff Wilson Jr. coming back off the IR. Week 4, it looks like he'll be healthy and ready to play. And A-Chain, they're going to get him more involved. He was even active for this game. So I'm selling Mostert if you own him. You were kind of drafting him for early season production anyways, in my opinion. And yeah, I'm looking to upgrade my RB there. The Eagles versus the Patriots. Kendrick Bourne. He's on DK Millie Maker. He's on the DK winning Millie Maker team. 6 catches, 64 yards, 2 touchdowns. Devonta Smith, 7 catches, 47 yards, and a touchdown. We see Kenneth Gainwell get basically every single touch for running backs. Boston Scott gets the goal line carry, which is interesting. Something to note. Third downs was a split with Kenneth Gainwell getting 6. Short yardage, Kenneth Gainwell he got the majority of the playing time, and they almost lose to New England because of it. It's 41 snaps, 16 routes run. He gets 14 carries and 4 targets. Seriously, like, you have to pick him up. If he's on waivers, he becomes the number 1, number 2, number 3, depending on how you rank those top guys, depending how serious Eckler's ankle injury is. But DeAndre Swift, can Gainwell keep Swift off the field? That's what you got to have to ask yourself. Like, Gainwell, you're not starting next week, in my opinion. You're picking him up. You're seeing what happens. You're seeing if the usage is similar. Man, it's difficult. Is Penny going to be inactive again? I think they're just going to be cycling through these 4 guys if they don't cut Penny sooner than later. But Quez Watkins getting 52 snaps over Olamide, the new receiver from Atlanta, 7 snaps. So clear number 3 here, I should say. And Goddard, probably the surprise of the week at tight end, getting 1 target. I don't even think he caught it. 61 snaps, 36 routes run. But I said this before, like, Patriots are very good against the tight end, so that definitely could have a large role into this usage. So don't panic on Goddard. And if you need a tight end, maybe you're targeting Dallas Goedert. Maybe you pick up Henry and you package him for Goddard. I would definitely be like, trade target. Goddard's definitely high up there for me. And I'm thinking about trades already because I'm sick. Definitely sick. Seth Wabi, what's going on, my man? Welcome to the live stream. Says I'll have to rewatch. Yeah, we got some goodies in here. We definitely got some nugs in this stream, as well as very minimal victory lapping. I didn't even victory lap Ayuk until someone came in here and said it. New England Patriots snap counts. And Juju, whether it was injury, whether it was him doing TikToks on the sideline, he wasn't out there at the most important time at the end of the game. And Bill Belichick said something like, I'm confident with whoever we have, like some BS stuff like that. Something to note for Juju right now, though. Hunter Henry, 63 snaps, 42 routes run. Gesicki, 33 snaps, almost half. 24 routes run, half the targets, half the catches. Just, he's half of Hunter Henry. That's what we need to note here. Half of Hunter Henry, going in front of Hunter Henry all the way until like late July on Underdog. Ramondre Stevenson, this was 5 carries, 5 yards at like halftime, basically. Zeke Elliott, they chose to feature him for God knows why, but gets 5 targets. Ramondre pulls 6 targets. He gets more routes run. He ends up seeing more snaps than Zeke. He had more life than Zeke. I mean, it's a tough game against Philly. Let's see week 2 what shapes up, but you could see some sort of gross timeshare like this, 12-7. I think it gets up to. So if you can get 15 touches from Stevenson every week, that's the minimum. Like, you need 15 touches minimum from Stevenson, and it looks like Zeke is going to be in that 8 to 12 range, and Stevenson in that 13 to 18 range. It's ugly, but what can you do about it? 2-minute drill. End of the game, they trust Stevenson. 19 touches. All right. And then early downs, again, it's Stevenson. Short yardage, 2 running backs, 3rd downs, again, Stevenson. So there's a small split there on 3rd downs. Goal line, Zeke, and this was the worry when we saw the Zeke being added. He's coming off an injury. He was sick, like Stevenson was sick. You can blame it on multiple things. Catch for Diggs, first play of the game. Yeah, we have Diggs over 5.5 catches, so that's a fun one. Oh no, Juju does tweet at people, doesn't he? Sick, just sick. People just like Gesicki because of the gritty. It's so cringe. The gritty's so cringe. Hunter Henry to the moon, Jared says. Enjoy the game, everyone. Go Bills. Goddamn. And here it is. The moment everyone's been waiting for. Puka Nacua, 15 targets? Come on. All right, here's what I'm doing with Puka. If you get him on the waivers, Or if you have Fab, I'm not going crazy with my Fab for Puka. If we expect Cooper Kupp to come back, Puka goes right back. He goes right back down. He ran a lot of the same routes that Cooper Kupp would run. But the fact that he got this target share just kind of shows you how bad everyone else is. And Tutu actually looked good. Like, Tutu looked good, and he looked serviceable as like a deep shot type guy. Van Jefferson with some drops that were just horrendous. But if I'm getting Puka, I'm trading him before Cooper Kupp comes back week 5. And maybe that's after another good game or a third good game, whatever it may be. But I'm going to trade him. I'm going to find a target that I want. Maybe it's Deontay Johnson who's hurt, and maybe that team needs a player right now. That's what you want to be doing. You want to be targeting the players that are going to be producing at the end of the season. So something like that, if you could trade Puka for Deontay Johnson, if that team needs a receiver right now, and let's say Deontay Johnson misses a couple weeks, that could be a huge brain play. Cam Akers, he gets the first touch, right, of the game, but then they bring in Kyron Williams, and he was just way more efficient of a running back. Cam Akers was, it was disgusting. It really was disgusting. So Kyron finishes with 15 carries, 52 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Cam Akers, oh man, where is it? Because it's bad. 22 carries, 29 yards, and a touchdown. Come on. That's disgusting. That's wildly inefficient. Kyron Williams, a short yardage guy, the third down back too. Oh my. You're packaging Cam Akers this week, if you can, if no one's looking at the stats. He got in the end zone, so maybe you can get by with whatever he put up, like an 11-point game. You try to package him, you try to ship him off your fantasy football team as soon as possible. Or if you have to eat this week, you just hope he gets into the end zone again next week, and you can trade him because it looks ugly in LA. It really does. But they end up getting the dub against the Seahawks, and you saw Tyler Lockett leave the game a little bit. I think he was in concussion protocol. They were testing him. JSN pulls 5 targets. Kind of an underwhelming game for the Seahawks. Kenneth Walker, 12 carries, 4 targets. Charbonnet getting in the mix a little bit. 7 routes run, 3 carries. Just an underwhelming game. DK Metcalf start off hot, gets in the end zone, but yeah, if that continues, that could be a huge problem for our portfolio in Seattle. DJ Dallas, 2-minute drill. Just like, what were they doing with the running backs? Kenneth Walker gets the short yardage. That's going to be huge for Kenneth Walker to sustain his value. Third downs, it looks like a mix between DJ Dallas right now and Kenneth Walker. And again, like Zach Charbonnet was drafted pretty early on Underdog too, around pick 100. Early downs was Ken Walker. Now let's see, they'll probably get Zach Charbonnet into the mix more over the course of the season over DJ Dallas. Like, I fully expect that to happen. So you can't overreact too much about this week 1 stuff. You're keeping Charbonnet. You're obviously keeping Walker. Brighter days are ahead for everyone on Seattle. And Cowboys versus Giants. We already touched on this game a little bit. Just disgusting. The Cowboys just dominated them. On offense, they dominated them on defense. CeeDee Lamb looks great. If this was a serious game that, goddamn, if they could have been down just 14 at halftime, you could have seen CeeDee Lamb really go off, but they didn't have to do that much. They really didn't have to do that much. This is interesting, guys. Like, Jake Ferguson, first off, can't catch the ball. He pulls 6 targets, multiple drops, 13 routes run. Peyton Hendershot already getting into the mix with 11 routes run. Dak likes his tight ends. I do think you're going to end up seeing some sort of timeshare here between these 3 guys. I'm just not convinced Jake Ferguson is going to end up as the number 1 guy. Like, it's going to be like a Seattle type thing from last year where you had Fant, you had Disley, you have all these other guys getting in the mix. I think you're seeing something similar this year in Dallas. So I'm not completely overreacting to the 6 targets in Ferguson. Tolbert, Turpin, they got him more in the mix. Brandon Cooks. Yeah, it was an underwhelming game on offense. They didn't have to do a whole lot. Tony Pollard looked good. He got his 14 carries. Rico Dowdle and Vaughn, they brought him in basically just in trash time. They were up by so much. So not a whole lot to take away from this game just because of it wasn't competitive. It wasn't competitive at all. But yeah, fun little exercise. Tight ends, top 10. Wide receivers, we get Rashid Shaheed to finish his wide receiver 10. We have like 26% Rashid Shaheed this season. Just beautiful thing. ML says agree on Puka, but Tutu is sneaky ad and he'll keep his role when Cup comes back. Exactly. I 100% agree with this. If you think Cup is out for the year, get Puka. If you think Cup comes back, get Tutu. 100% agree with this. I think you can still get Puka no matter what and trade him and package him for before Cooper Kupp comes back. But I'm doing that, and I'm trading Mostert before Jeff Wilson comes back, before they get A-Chain more involved as well. Aaron Rodgers going to the medical tent. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. And the O-line is a disaster. Oh, no. Don't do it. Don't do it, Adam. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, guys. Appreciate everyone coming out tonight. If you enjoyed tonight's live stream, go down, slap a like. If you are new to the channel, you play fantasy football, make sure you subscribe. And I appreciate all you guys coming out. Good luck on this finish to week 1. And we'll be back tomorrow for a Battle Royale stream with Dooley, 8 p.m. Eastern. I appreciate you guys. Pounders.